Hi, I'm Louise Wood. I'm the Communications Manager at WWF Singapore. Well, I've lived in Singapore now for about 16 years, so I've noticed in the last 5 years how bad the haze is starting to become. 2013 was a particularly bad year for me because I had a young son who had an allergic reaction to haze pollution. Meant lots of days at the doctors and even in hospitals for me. So I totally understand how difficult it is for people with young children and how scary it is when you have young children and the haze pollution hits. More than that though, it disrupts our lifestyles. We can't go outside. We suffer from haze craze, which means we're all kept inside. But as far as our economy is concerned as well, it's inconvenient for us, right? It's inconvenient when we can't go out, we can't exercise, we can't do the things we want to do. We need to think also about that's our situation. We're far removed from haze. What about those people at ground zero? So shockingly, we heard of the very, very high PSI levels for people living in areas like Kalimantan and parts of Sumatra in Indonesia. We heard of PSI levels reaching 4,000. Can you imagine that? We were struggling here when it was going quite rightly. The PSI level was going over 300. People in Indonesia have had to put up with PSI levels that we can't even imagine. This is not just a Singapore problem, this is a regional problem, and it's a regional problem to solve as well. I think in the time I've lived in Singapore, I've just certainly seen an increased environmental movement. There are definitely more people realising that they have an important role to play in protecting our environment. I think two key reasons for this is that people have experienced climate change for themselves. We've seen dry spells here that we've never seen before. We've seen floods that we've never seen before. We're experiencing high temperatures. 2015 was the hottest year on record. So we have seen climate change. We know climate change is a very, very difficult thing to explain, but when you experience it, it makes it very easy to understand. Secondly, we've seen haze pollution. We've seen the way it affects our lives. We don't want it back again. So I think in the last few years we've seen more and more people realising the cause and effects their actions can cause or prevent environmental problems. So I think Singapore is well on its way to becoming a much more environmentally conscious nation. We have a way to go, but we're on the right path.